For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Self-checkout. I mean, is it two words or is it one word with a hyphen? I don't even know. Self-checkout. It's you either love it or you hate it. And I honestly, here's the thing. I hear from people who will say they appreciate it from time to time. And I'll talk about why when they appreciate it. But as a regular kind of a thing, I don't know anybody that loves it. Now, it's open license for people to steal from stores, right? We've seen that. I actually just watched, over the past few weeks, we've been talking about, customer service and restaurants and stores and all that kind of stuff. And so I've had some emails back and forth with with some listeners. And then, they send me these YouTube videos because I've talked about how I didn't realize that people were doing these things. I'm not tuned into social media that much, so I didn't even realize that people would just set up their cameras and talk about, food prices and all these things. I always thought that was kind of like a TikTok thing. I didn't realize people do. I know. But here's the deal. I go out and I live my life. So I'm not a regular YouTube viewer that I would be seeing all these things. So I didn't even know that it happened. But anyway, so I did see a bunch of self-checkout videos that people have posted, and also just, I guess, shoplifting in general. So that's what we're talking about on the show this week, because I believe if you're somebody who, does grocery shopping or the shopping for your household or even just for yourself, I mean, you have an opinion on self-checkout. You have an opinion either way. I know a lot of people. I don't know anybody who's just sort of, nah, I don't really have an opinion. You have an opinion. Don't even give me that, all right? So that's what we're talking about on The Scribble right after this.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on The Scribble. I'll admit it right up front that I'm a customer who let me use the word expects. I expect things to be done for me as a customer. I mean, isn't that kind of part of the transaction? Is I'm paying for a service, or if I'm shopping in your store, and I've always liked grocery shopping. My husband absolutely hates it. This is one of those things where I can go into the grocery store and it's an easy 60 minutes. It's an easy hour because I'm going up and down every aisle, and then I find this, and then I'm going to go back to this aisle. I'm going to put this one back. I'm going to get this instead. Oh, you know what? I wanted chicken, but you know what? Taco stuff is on sale. So, okay, I'm going to put that. Oh, no, you know what? Let's make chicken tacos. Okay, that's what. So somebody going to the grocery store with me, if you don't like grocery shopping, you're not going to have a good time. But I remember, and I always loved going with my mom when I was growing up. And so that's one of the things that one of my first kind of memories is going back maybe about, I don't even remember. It was probably 30 years ago, we went, we're from Canada, so we went to Superstore. I think it's called Real Canadian Superstore now, or Real Superstore, whatever. Now, this was the first grocery store, first of all, that made you bag your own groceries. So the cashier stands there, and then there's like the two conveyor belts, right? There's the left and the right one, and then yours goes down one, and the next customer goes on the next one, and then so that was the first time that I'd ever seen that, and I was a young kid at that time. And then this was also the same store that was the first one to make you buy bags, buy the plastic bags. Like I said, it's like 35 years ago, okay? So that's how. And I thought that was really strange, because I thought, well, for years, every other grocery store has always bagged the groceries. I don't understand why now they scan them as just kind of like pushed down the counter, and it's like, all right, there you go. Now deal with it. No, they're yours. Go. And it was strange to me as a kid. Now, of course, I liked doing it because, you'd press the button on the conveyor belt thing, right? And then, you're moving and it's coming closer to you. So that maybe was a way for me to kind of, all right, I'll bag the groceries. And things were probably getting crushed or whatever. You don't know how to bag groceries when you're that young, which is why the staff should do it for you. And then, then self-checkout comes in, and this was we should have seen it coming, right? I mean, it was only a matter of time. They're making us bag our stuff already. I mean, it's, the next logical thing is, all right, we don't even want to deal with you. And that seems to be, you've heard me bitch about customer service. I mean, that seems to be the big thing. You go to a website, it's almost impossible to find the contact information. They give you the resources, the knowledge base, tutorials, the whatever you want to call it, to find the answer yourself. They don't want you to, they don't want to have to hire people or whatever and take up time. And then when you do call, it's to some outsourced, country. And, I had a fight with, I can't remember which company it was. I don't know if it was Best Buy or it was it might have been Best Buy or Walmart, that I'm speaking to them. And so they'd asked me, I was in Canada at the time, and so they asked me the city, and I said Winnipeg, and they said, and the province. That is a dead giveaway that you're not Canadian. And to me, I mean, I know that it's outsourced, so it's not like it was a surprise to me. But if I were in the United States, that's not an American, that would be a problem. Right? If you go and say that I'm from, Los Angeles, and what state is that? I mean, come on. Right? And I think that there's that resentment. And so, I mean, you look at the customer, from the consumer's perspective, you look at this and go, I have to do all the work. You outsource to other countries, so you're not even supporting, workers in our country. So, now you're making us self-checkout. I mean, so here's the thing. Let me just say this. Stealing is illegal, all right? So before anybody comes and says, like, oh my God, stealing is illegal. People are going to do what they're going to do. It was like when I was on the radio during Corona, and I was in radio syndication, so I was on, 20, 30 radio stations or whatever, and so they would tell me, the stations individually sometimes would tell me to remind people to get vaccinated and blah, blah, blah. No, here's the thing. That's not my job. I don't do that. I didn't do that with people in my own life. That's up to you. That's a decision that you make. If you are comfortable with it, and you trust the government, or you trust medicine or science or whatever it is, that's up to you. Now, and also let me take a 2-step back on this one. Like, I'm vaccinated, so it's not like I'm not, anti-vax. No. I'm just saying that's me, average Joe, who just happens to talk on the radio. That's not my position to tell people what to do, to inject something into their body. No, that's all I'm saying. So if people wanted to get a vaccination, fine. If not, their choice. So the stealing thing, if you want to do it, you're going to do it. Just some dude on a podcast telling you to not steal or to steal. So that's what I'm saying. So putting this disclaimer out there that I'm not condoning illegal activity. I'm not, suggesting that you steal because you're pissed off by self-checkout. But I will say this. I understand why people are doing it. Let me be clear. I'm just saying I'm just saying I understand why people do it. Just as after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, I wrote a newspaper column that says, I understand the need for political violence. Now, wait. So people jumped on me just from the headline. It doesn't say I support, I condone, I endorse. It says I understand. So when you actually read the column, though, when you read the commentary, it says in there, I'm not saying that it's right, but if people feel so fed up or so scared and intimidated by somebody's big, strong opinions and big vocal platform and constant beratement of their lifestyle or whatever it is, I understand how they could go and say, oh my God, I need to kill this fucker. Is that the right thing? No. And I've never endorsed that. I've never, ever said, oh, you don't like President Trump, you think he's a danger, you should kill him. I have never, and I don't want anybody to ever. What I'm saying is I understand. Okay, let me flip it around. And Secret Service, don't call me because I'm not saying anything bad. I could understand why people would want a president to be assassinated because they just feel that he's against you. They feel he's a danger. So I understand it. I'm not empathizing with those people and saying, go ahead and do it. Never will I do that. Let's be very clear. How many disclaimers do I need to put on this 7.5 minute segment so far? Okay. So let's go back to self-checkout and stealing. So I get it. And there's one of the explanations that people will use is, well, I don't work here. And so I'm going to be compensated for my time and my effort. That's another one that I kind of understand. But at the same time, though, I mean, I look at it and go, well, if you were to break that down, what a hourly wage is in a store like that, and you were at self-checkout for maybe 2 minutes, if you were to break that down, let's even say they make $10 an hour at that store, or $15, I don't know what a retail job like that pays, but, let's say it was at most, let's say they were $20 an hour. Because I think even fast food here in California is $20 an hour. Okay, so $20 an hour for that 2 minutes that you spent at self-checkout doing it. Your compensation is going to be pennies. So stealing the big package of pork chops for $30, not fair compensation based on what you were doing, all right? So, but like I said, I understand the argument of, I don't work here, you're expecting me to do work tasks, right? As if it was your position. So I get that too. Now, one of the things that I did say on a previous episode was that I will wait for a cashier to ring me through. I'll wait in line for that, fine. But I won't wait for self-checkout. I will not wait to go and ring myself through. Because that's, I don't know, there's just something about that. So I will then, for the amount of time that I spend in line, I will then begin to put things back from my basket or my cart or whatever it is. Or if I eventually get up to I'll just say, I don't want this, and this. And I'll sometimes say, not in a Karen way, not in a dick way, but I'll just say, for every minute that I had to wait, I'm putting things back. So my bill's actually going to be lower. So I do the opposite. Some people will go and steal for that. I go and say, you know what? I've had time to think about this and I've changed my mind. That's actually the better way to do it. Do you know what I mean? That's the better way of even saving money too. Just going, you know what? Now I'm looking at the cart and I've had some time to think. I'm getting mad. So I don't want to get the such and such anymore. You know what? I just don't want this. So I'm going to put it back. And you'll find that that's the better way of having your bill become lower, as opposed to, I've seen those tweets, and somebody had sent me a video of people who are on TikTok basically showing themselves scamming the self-checkout, where they're showing, I don't know what they were, it was so fast and I didn't quite understand it, but I guess if you're in the loop of that culture, then you get it. But so they had a bunch of shirts, and it was because the video was very fast, and I think maybe that was the point of it in the editing, of just to kind of show how quickly. So, let's say $10 shirt, $15 shirt. The $10 ones are being scanned because I guess it weighs your bag. So it knows that there's 3 shirts in it. It just doesn't know that they're different prices. And then same thing with, a can of something, if it's going to be the same weight. So maybe let's say it's a can of soup versus a can of olives or something that's going to be more expensive, but the weight is the same. I'm sitting here going, I would never even thought of that. My thought would be, like a cheese for a cheese, but something the same, I never would have, because I guess my thought would be, all right, so if they do stop me at the door and I'm going to have a jar or a can of olives, but I have, do you know what, like that's where I wouldn't have even thought to do that, just because those are two completely different things. There's a can of soup versus a can of olives. They're the same weight, but it's not the same object. It's not the same item. Cheese for a cheese, right? A can of soup for a can of soup, but not something entirely different. So I'm learning something watching these shoplifters go through self-checkout. Because I guess I'm just a scaredy cat for something like that. But anyway, so self-checkout, this is the thing where I will also then too, if I end up getting up to the self-checkout, I will, as soon as it gives me, we're going to take a break. All right, I'll tell you about my self-checkout experiences on the Scribble right after this.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
JB here, back on the Scribble. All right, so if you make me do self-checkout, let me just tell you what's going to happen. Is one, I'm not going to be very happy, and two, the second that it tells me to wait for assistance, you know that message. You know that, because now you got to stand there. Now you're going to be waiting, and the one person is going to be going and going probably to all 4 of them or 5 of them or 6 of the checkouts. Because just everyone, the red light's going to be blinking on all of them, and they're going to be... Now, back in the day, it used to be that they would have almost like their little command post. Do you remember this in some of the bigger grocery stores, where they would kind of stand back and they're watching their 6 screens as to, everybody going. Now they don't have time to stand there because they got to keep running in and helping people. But the second that I get that, please wait for an attendant or whatever it says, as soon as they come and do it, and then they'll put their little thumb on the thing or they'll swipe their card or whatever it is, I'm telling them, you finish it. You finish it. The first time I get a warning, first time they take over, I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. Because then something is going to happen again. You're going to have to come and help me again. I used to do the 3 strikes and you're out thing. So I would do it 2 times to get the 2 errors, and then third time I don't work here. I obviously don't know how to work your machine. I'm not trained on how to do it. Because there's some stores where they will say to you, and this has happened, where it's like, oh, bag it after. Oh, just scan everything now, and then and I'm thinking, well, then give me employee training before I come in here. This is not my issue. Why do I? So I've got to put instructions, because the very first screen says to put your bags or whatever on the platform or the whatever it is. Well, then now you're coming and telling me, no, bag things after. It's like, but you just had me put the bag on the scale at the very beginning. So now the computer is telling me one thing. You're telling me something different. I don't know what to do. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to do it. Enjoy. Earn your money. Now, again, I'm not saying that I Karen out on these people. I don't Karen out. I'm not raising my voice. I'm not shouting at them, because they're just the employee. They didn't make the store policies. They didn't do all this stuff. So I get that before anybody, I'm not having the flip out. I'm not throwing things. I'm not doing that. What I'm saying is, you do it. I'm not doing it. Sorry. I'm refusing to work here. Yes. I'm refusing to do this because when I go to the checkout, they'll do it for me. And that should be the exact same here. I mean, I realize that, I don't know. It's just strange to me. So I will make them do it because when it's your technology, it's your store, right? This is your technology that first told me to put the bag. So I do it. And now it's telling me something different. Then I don't know what it wants. You're familiar with this technology. You deal with it every day. So scan it for me. Do it all. And this way, then you know that I'm not stealing anything because you've done it. So if security does try to stop me at the door, well, talk to Sharon over there. Talk to Tiffany. She's the one that rung me up. I didn't do it. So that's on you guys if not everything got scanned or whatever. Because it's just something that, it's time consuming, it's frustrating, it's a piss off because now I've got to wait for somebody to come and help me when this is really a store task to begin with. I mean, you can argue all you want and say, well, a grocery store, technically the cashier's job is to be the cashier and an employee, it's not their job to, it is actually their job to help me. Let's not even pretend that now okay, fine. Let's say that they're a janitor, then fine. It's maybe not their job to, help me at the self-checkout, but somebody who's working the floor, somebody who's out there, it kind of is your job. And technically, I guess, I'm not paying a cover charge or an entry fee to get into the store. I'm paying for the products that I'm taking, right? That I'm buying. So you could go and say, well, you're not paying them, their job is to do such and such. Well, but again, I'm not paying for the service. That's kind of part of the deal with welcoming customers into your store is you assist them. That's kind of what the deal is. So I don't know. I don't like it. Now I understand when people will also say, I'm this way too. If I'm in a mood or if I just don't, if I'm like, I've got two things. I'm going to self-checkout. I don't want to have to deal with anybody. I don't have to talk to anybody. My luck, that's going to be the machine that screws up though, right? So I'm going to have to wait for somebody to come and do the thumb on it. But so I get it if it's, a couple of things. But, if I've got a cart full of, 17 things. And I guess though too, there's some stores, I don't shop at Walmart much anymore, but when I have, I found that their self-checkouts were decent. It wasn't the one that every two things is coming to, or is telling you to have an assistant come over. From what I remember, I don't remember the last time I was actually in a Walmart store. We mostly just have stuff delivered to us. But there is one store in Canada in particular that I just... And I think that's also, too, what's part of it, is that you go into it. I just walk into the store going, oh, it's a self-checkout one that they're going to push you. And be like, no, I'm a customer. I can refuse to have to start touching your equipment and your technology and your computer systems. That's not my... I didn't sign up as a customer. I'm here to buy products and leave with them, not start, technical support on your equipment. That's not part of the deal. So, I'm going to talk about Walmart because I was there. As I just said, we haven't been there in a very long time, but I think one of the last times that I was there, it was with my mom. We're going back years now, probably. I would say 7 or 8 years ago. My mom had a self-checkout oopsie. I'll tell you about that on the Scribble right after this.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
JB here on The Scribble. When you're a teenager, maybe in your early 20s, perhaps you still live with your parents, it's probably the most maddening and frustrating and maybe embarrassing thing is to go grocery shopping, right, with your parents, or to be out, at the mall or something with your parents. But it ends up being a funny situation. So for me, with my mom, there was a time when early on in my relationship, so again, let me just backtrack in case people aren't familiar. My husband and I have a house in Winnipeg, where I'm from. He's Brazilian. We have a house in Canada, and then we have a house in West Hollywood. And so early on in the relationship, and by the way, I was single and living in my house on my own for, 10 years before my husband came around, or almost 10 years. But for some reason, when I got into the relationship, and again, he's a big muscular fitness model, bodybuilder and martial arts guy. So for some reason, I guess maybe he was viewed as my bodyguard or something in amongst my family. But when he would and I manage his modeling career. So he's got, work to do or whatever in Brazil. So he's gone for, a week or whatever it might be. So my mom would always end up calling me and saying, do you need any groceries? Do you need to go grocery shopping? Because I don't know if she thought that he carries the heavy bags or something, and I'm going to starve now because I don't have any groceries. I never really understood it. I I lived on my own. Like I said, I guess I've been in my house for, so 10 years, 8 years I lived in my house on my own. By myself. I did the grocery shopping. I would walk, I would carry the bags from, however far away. But all of a sudden now I've got a man, and then he's out of town, and it's like, oh, you're going to need to go grocery shopping because he's not there and you're going to be starving. So I've never understood it, but whatever. So, there were times when I legitimately did need groceries. So I would say to him, like, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. And she'll say, okay, well, I'm leaving at 1:30, and all right, okay, fine. So she'll pick me up and then we'll go. And though, it's kind of weird because I would end up buying stuff that I didn't want. You kind of have that, she's got that, if you're going with somebody and they've got that influence, oh, that's a really good price for those. And then you're kind of like, oh, okay, well, I'll get them. And then you actually arrive home and you're unpacking and then you're just like, I didn't really need that, did I? No, but it was a good price. It's a good price, but it's going to sit in the fridge and go bad. And I'm not going to eat it and have to throw it out, but it was still a good price. So we had gone to Walmart and she was getting stuff like house cleaning supplies. So she had like paper towel, and then she had got a new broom. So in amongst the groceries, which is why we were going, or why I was going, she had a couple other things. So we do the self-checkout. And again, this is one of those things where a computer, she's almost 70. What is she? She's almost 70. But a retired teacher, I should point out. So a teacher, who's used computers and whatever. So it's not like she's completely... So, we're doing the self-checkout, but I guess there was so much hassle of, you scan, then you put the bag, and then it says to wait, and then this, and then it's telling you to put it in the bag, but you already did it, and so they're coming and helping. And then we had the two orders, because we had my stuff, and they had her stuff. So I'd gone first, and then whatever. So as we're done, as we're leaving the store... She looks, we get to the car and she's unpacking and she's like, I didn't pay for the broom. So it was an honest mistake. Well, she says it was honest, but I wasn't paying attention. I'm like, whatever. I wasn't looking at what she was scanning or whatever, so I didn't even know. She's doing her thing. Now, knowing my mom though, and again, being a teacher for 30 some years and I wouldn't think that she would steal something, but I'm just saying, So, we kind of laughed about it, and I said, "Well, are we gonna quickly run now? We're just gonna close the doors and let's go." So technically, my mom ended up stealing the broom, and now this was the funny thing. So as we're driving, the store's maybe between 5 and 10 minutes from my house. So we're having time to talk about it and laugh about it. And this is where I think she had that turning point as well in her head, where she said, you know what? That's fine. I'll take it. Because she has this whole frustration of the self-checkout thing. She said, because for the amount of time we had to stand and wait and somebody's got to help and then they've got to go and then look everything out and then scan in and then edit something and then do a code for this and whatever. And she said, you know what? You can't even blame me for getting confused and forgetting about it. And they could even go and watch the cameras that are recording you and just see how much back and forth and this and that. That would be an honest mistake. And so I actually said to her, well, you have a point in this situation. In this particular scenario that I just witnessed, yeah, I could understand. Because again, it was not something that was baggable. It was something, and a broom is not very big, so it was kind of like not underneath the cart, but it just kind of was out of the way, right? It's such a small item too, right? It's just a thin stick. So I'm playing back the situation and, playing back in my head and go, yeah, you know what? Somebody watching it on camera would probably go and say, this was an honest mistake because you've got the two of us, you got two orders, you got an employee coming back, you've got bags, you got to move things around, you got to do it all. So okay. Now, again, as I said earlier in the show, am I justifying it? Am I condoning it? Am I saying, way to go, Mom? No, I'm not saying that. Kind of I am, actually. Let me just think about it, though. You know what? Okay, so here's my confession. Have I stolen through self-checkout? Yes, I have. And because once it was an honest mistake where I had bought 3 of something and you just go, beep, beep, or, whatever. And so what happened was when we needed some plastic flowers, those like fake, or fabric or whatever flowers. And we had a stack of them. We were doing some kind of a photo thing for the radio shows, and I was out at the dollar store already, and I'd say, okay, I'll grab them. And so there was like 40 something of them. But here's the thing, is that they were all different codes, or they were, I didn't realize it at the time because I just thought plastic flowers are fucking plastic flowers. So when we get home, I think I said to you earlier about that. Oh, I did. I mentioned about the shirts. $10 shirt, $10 shirt, $15 shirt. Well, that's apparently what the thing was with these flowers. And I didn't realize that. I was just like, how do I know that these, this thing of roses is different than the daffodils or the, whatever it was. So they're looking at the receipt, the accountant or whatever, when we got back. And I just said like, oh, I guess we stole a bunch of, I stole a bunch of the expensive ones. Like, I don't know. But this is why though, is because you just assume. I remember working in retail at Party City where somebody would get a package of whatever, red napkins, and then, oh, those weren't the ones on sale. Oh, well, can you just scan the, otherwise it's like, well, it's a totally different UPC code altogether. Like, it's not even the same thing. I can't just do that. And customers don't realize that, right? Why should they know that? They don't work there. So it's plead ignorance on that one and go, whatever. I mean, plastic flowers are plastic flowers. I don't know if you have a different code for each single one. And that's something that staff would know. So if staff was doing it, then they would do it right. As far as I'm concerned, it's plastic flowers, and I've got 5 of them, so I'm scanning 5 of them. None of them had like a shelf label. It was just those bins. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where they kind of just have, because it's not something you can hang on a peg or put on a shelf. They have them in like those little, like you'd see at a florist, in those like pail kind of things. And none of them had prices on them. So I don't know what the fuck is, how do I know that they're different or what the deal is? So, so have I stolen from self-checkout? Yes, I have. It'll be, scanning 3 of the roses, but I end up having 4 daffodils or whatever it is. Well, whatever then. I mean, that's it's not, how do I know? I'm not looking. It just says, some of them will say assorted flower, and then one will say assorted rose. One will say assorted vinyl or what plastic. I'm like, I don't know the codes. Again, I don't work here. I wasn't trained on it. So share your thoughts with me about self-checkout. And do you just feel like I'm going to stick it to the store and I'm just going to take then? One for the scanner, 2 for the bag. I want to know if you've also been busted. Have you been caught? Have you been caught self-checkout stealing? Send me an email, live, live at jbonair.com. Live at jbonair.com. We're out of time, you thieves, you crooked criminals. I want to hear your stories with this because I know that people get enraged by self-checkout. And I think it's smart that the companies that brought them in, the big box stores that brought them in, are phasing them out. And I'd be interested to see the statistics. So I'd be interested to know, so let's say they, whatever store, company ABC, or let's just give Walmart as an example. So let's say that Walmart is taking all them out of the store. I would love to see the numbers for a couple of things. The shrink or the loss prevention, like how much, are they going to attribute to theft at that point? And then will the sales go up because now they've got actual cashiers doing it who can, either upsell or, whatever. Are people willing to buy more? I'd be interested to see those statistics then and see, and then the average cart cost or average bill cost and overall customer happiness, customer satisfaction. But I would want to see what the theft was, for a full year. So if they take it out this year, or if they take it, let's say they take it out January 1st or whatever it is. And then I want to see the numbers of theft, retail theft from the last year with self-checkout and then the full year with it gone. If theft will go down. I'm not saying that it will. I'd be fascinated to see those numbers. That's why I'm saying I would want to see that. See if that has a direct impact. All right, that's it. My name is Jeremy Bradley. This is The Scribble. I will talk to you next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real